Prime Ministerial questions. And so I normally try to get into Downing Street quite early one morning, get into number 10, look through the papers, see what's happening during the day, speak to the Prime Minister to see what he's doing. And it's always want to try and anticipate what the questions are going to be, anticipate what MPs are going to ask, anticipate what David Cameron's going to ask. And we have a pretty good record of trying to guess, knowing what their interests are going to be or what the main issues of the day are. And then, of course, we come across to the House of Commons for Prime Minister's questions, which yesterday was particularly loud and quite exciting one in many ways. And then afterwards, the Prime Minister will meet a number of MPs who want to talk to him about different issues, and I'll join him for those meetings. Then I have a meeting with some parliamentary colleagues. And after that, I think the day, we start off with all these good intentions. My list that I'd written at 8 o'clock in the morning, the things I wanted to do, I tried to do them at 4 o'clock, but the list was twice as long by then. So I did some paperwork, had some other meetings, I went back to Downing Street. We voted on the embryology bill, of course, yesterday as well, so that was a very important piece of legislation. I left here a bit earlier last night. We got away about 7:30, 7:45. So it was a busy day.
And at the moment, with all that's gone in the economy, is it more intense at the moment, or is it business as usual?
It's a bit of both. In some ways, whatever else is happening, there's still the business as usual. I'm still going to get letters from constituents about the issues that concern them. That's not going to change at all. So whatever's happening in the economy might make their problems or issues more acute, but it's not going to go away. So that's business as usual in many ways, doing what you can to help. But of course, there's all these other huge global issues going on at the same time. My role with the Prime Minister means I'm more involved in those kind of issues. And MPs want the Prime Minister to know their views, they want to feed back information, they want to talk to him. So that work for me becomes much busier as well. So to answer your question, it's yes and yes. It's a bit yes ministerish, really.
So when you got the particular job you have, is it what you expected?
I don't know what I expected in some ways. I've been a PPS, a Parliamentary Private Secretary, to a minister before, but being in that role to a Prime Minister is completely different. I don't think anything prepares you for it. And both Tony Blair and Gordon Brown have taken the view that they want a former minister. So I was a government minister before, and they wanted somebody with ministerial experience to be their PPS, which I think is fairly unusual, but for me it's been valuable. And I think having sort of been a minister before and know what ministers are doing, when ministers want to talk to the Prime Minister, they can talk to me and I can sort of pass information on, I can give some advice and assistance in different ways. So it's probably not what I expected, but I'm not sure what I would have expected from it.
I'm going to ask that terrible job interview question now. What do you think you've brought to the job?
I think the kind of job I have, what you bring is your personality and your experience, and so everybody would do it differently. And I have to say, the first sort of few weeks, couple of months I was doing the job, I think, am I doing this right? Should I be doing something different? Keith before me did this, David before me did such and such. And I think I'm the first woman ever to have this particular role to the Prime Minister for perhaps forever. So I just sort of thought, I'm going to be me, and hope that works. But I've got advice, obviously support from people who've been in this role previously.
And do you think you see a different Gordon Brown than maybe the way that the people or the media maybe perceive him?
I do, and I find that quite surprising. I got a question when I was at school last week, is why does the Prime Minister look so grumpy? And I don't see that. I've seen him when he's been grumpy. I think all of us get grumpy from time to time. But I see a very different man. I see the humour in him. I see he's very focused. Also, he's highly intelligent. I knew he was clever. But the way he's seen us through these problems and the sort of the perception he has of what the global requirements are is just fantastic. It's impressive to watch. And you'll know in your work, it can be quite difficult sometimes to be impressed by people you see every single day. Well, I've been working with him now for over a year, and I'm impressed.
And is the credit crunch and the economic crisis a difficult thing in many ways for the image of the Prime Minister, because he doesn't want to be seen? He clearly is the man in charge of this crisis now, isn't he? And is it a difficulty that he might be seen to be gloating because it's all playing to his strengths?
Yeah. To be honest, I never think he thinks about how he's looking on TV or how he's being perceived. He just gets on with it. So I've not seen any sign of gloating from him. He just wants to get on with the job, and I think that's one of the reasons why people sometimes see a different Gordon Brown, different Prime Minister to the one I see, because he'll be concentrating on what he's doing, not thinking, oh, which camera should I look at next, who shall I smile at next. It's a big job being Prime Minister. So I think perhaps he should let people see a bit more of him. And people should see how difficult it is, not just for him, but for Alistair Darling and the rest of the government. These are big issues, huge issues. We've never seen anything like this before. We've never seen a downturn in the economy on a global scale. So they're treading where no man has trod before in many ways. And they're just focused on doing the work.
So we just discussed the global issues. How often do people from your constituency come up here?
Fairly regularly. We're close to London. It's a constituency, so people travel down. So most weeks we have somebody up from the constituency, or a couple up, or school up, and it's great. And I always try and make time to see them. Sometimes not as long as I would like, because I'm in meetings, I'm doing different things around here. Because that's working day for me. It's a normal working day. But whenever I can get some time to go and see constituents who've come up, and of course in the constituency, from sort of over the weekend, I see lots of people. But I do like people to come up. Taxpayers' money's paid for this building. They should see how fantastic it is, and also how antiquated it is sometimes to work.